third to promote awareness and mobilize support for people with disabilities. Here at IIIT, we believe that innovation and inclusivity are the twin pillars in creating a better future. It is with this thought that Odyssey, Build, eCell, and the Innovation and Incubation Center have come together to organize this 36-hour online design Ideathon. And needless to say, the response has been phenomenal. With over 100 participants, with over 500 participants and 100 plus ideas that are a result of the 36 hours of brainstorming and ideating, with another 100 hours of mentoring, we are now finally coming to the most exciting part of the event, the pitches by the top 10 teams. Before we begin with the presentations, we'll now have the keynote addresses by the panelists. First up, we have Dr. Ratnadeep Suri, who is an assistant professor at IIIT Delhi. He completed his postdoctoral research from NTU Singapore. His research examines the effects of technology use in knowledge work contexts, health contexts, and other contexts. He is also interested in the consequences of disrupted access to communication technologies on individuals address the game.
Is anyone able to hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share my ideas on this forum. When students first approached me, I was a little confused because I was under the impression that we would be talking about design. But then I realized that design as a word should not be narrowed down to technologies. It should not be narrowed down to a particular effort to solve a problem. So what I'm going to talk today about is how do we think about disabilities from a social perspective? And more generally, I wanted to articulate how design thinking should try to embrace an idea of core principles of to be able to use these 5 ideas to think about how disability or how solving a problem related to disability should not in return create new forms of discrimination or new forms of isolation for people with disabilities. So let's start that. So I draw from a lot of my field studies where I looked at how people with disabilities often are, facing challenges in the society in terms of not only inclusion, but also in the process of inclusion, they try to, kind of encounter new challenges that are associated with how a particular solution has been tailored in such a way that it creates new forms of isolation. So let's start with this. So I called it 5 big ideas to think about because I have thought about these 5 ideas as a universal driving forces for you to think about creating solutions. So creating solutions to address disability needs is not just about fixing the problem, but also to be able to look at the emotional side, the human aspect of solving a problem. So let's look at a few of these ideas, and I'll then talk about how these ideas translate into day-to-day examples to be able to help you understand. So let's talk about this. So first, I call it accessibility and versus exclusion and inclusion. So when we talk about accessibility, one of the challenges that designers often face is they often think about the problem. And in the process of solving the problem, we create new forms of exclusion, or we do not understand a problem holistically. And in the process, what happens is design thinking limits itself to solving the problem. but not looking at how one particular solution can actually open up new forms of exclusion and lack of inclusion. So let's look at two examples. On the left hand, you see a mechanism, a solution that helps people in wheelchairs access aircrafts. Right? On the right side, we also see that there is a wheelchair ramp along with the stairs. So what is happening in this kind of situation is when we are trying to solve the problem of access, it also in the process creates a stigma for those who are taking advantage of these technologies. So once we are in an airport, there is a systematic way in which we are differentiated, right? So when we talk about providing access, we are also creating a new way in which people are further stigmatized. So when we think about creating access, it is also very important how our solutions do not create a new form of exclusion, right? So another important thing in the airline industry is they have created new ways to help access the aircraft, but there are no proper mechanisms in place for disabled people to be dealt with in emergency situations. So in emergency situations like an emergency landing, or if the aircraft lands in a water, then there is no other way of helping those who are disabled. So what I'm trying to understand, what I'm trying to help you to think about is in the process of creating solutions for accessibility, we should also be guarding ourselves from creating new mechanisms in which exclusion or inclusion are inscripted into the solution. Okay. Now, let's look at idea 2. One of the challenges that disabled designers would think about solving problems related to disability is about how a solution is often thought about as an afterthought. When designers are engaging with solving problems related to disability, the focus is mostly on the solving of one particular problem. And that idea comes as an afterthought, that is designing as retrofitting versus designing from grounds up. So when we are creating physical environments or learning environments or any environment where we are addressing a disability, creating mechanisms of accessibility should often start with grounds up, where the problem is not to retrofit an environment with a patchwork solution, but to be able to create a mechanism that from the beginning understands how to address the problem from the beginning, so that these environments are not only inclusive, but they also do not create new ways in which a particular group is stigmatized through the design of the solution itself. Okay. Now, let's also look at the third idea. When people are designing systems, often what is neglected in the process of creating a solution is the burden that a particular solution puts on the disabled person. Let's take this visual for example. Okay. There is a ramp that has been created, and the ramp is very close to the door. However, when we translate policies into action, what often is missed out by designers is to be able to understand if their particular design choice actually takes into consideration the burden that is put on the individual, the disabled person. So the angle of the ramp in this particular instance is an example which helps us to think about how this particular solution actually is counterproductive. Because the designers have focused on creating a ramp, but they did not really understand that such a ramp and something as simple as an inclination requires tremendous amount of effort on behalf of the disabled person to be able to use that system to gain access. So what I'm provoking, designers to think about is, when you're designing a system, often think about the design from the user's perspective, not only in terms of whether it is solving the problem, but what is the cost of that solution? How much of cost is put on the user when we are designing a solution? Is it really something that they can use? Or is it something that you are designing in order to meet a narrowly tailored problem? Now, the fourth idea. Often, what is happening is, when we think about design, we think about that from a problem-solving perspective. And in the process, what happens is, we are not thinking about the aspirational values one attaches to the technologies or the solutions that are offered to people with challenges for gaining access. So I want designers also to think about, how does their particular design meet not only the standards of design or focus on not only solving the problem, but also does it create a sense of aspiration for those whose problems they're trying to address. So designing with style in mind. Style is not just about how it looks, but by embracing your solution, does the disabled person really feel good about it? Or it is something that people want to not use it because it stigmatizes them further for embracing a particular technology to solve a problem or address their disability. Okay. Now, the fifth idea is, when we talk about creating design solutions, often we are talking about addressing one particular need. Let's take an example of a disabled-friendly toilet, right? When we are designing for disabled people, we need to understand that disability is not just about one universal style. It is also about other complex and diverse set of needs that these people have. So when you're thinking about designing for the disabled, I provoke you to think about designing in such a way that it accommodates people with diverse and complex needs. The solution should not simply address the physicality of such a solution, but what it does when someone who is disabled uses your design or engages with your technology. How does it limit or expand their ability, or in the process of addressing one need, how do we often miss out on the other needs? Okay, so these 5 ideas should not only provoke you to think about designing to address the problem at hand, but it should also provoke you to think about the humanity of design. How do our design solutions not only enhance disabled people's ability to access the world, but does it also undergird their process of access with dignity? Does it make it more inclusive or further stigmatize them in the social worlds that they often find challenge to access? Okay, so I end this talk with helping you to think about these ideas, not only when you design technology, but also to think about how these ideas constantly reverberate in any process where accommodating someone with a disability becomes an important facet of designing a social system. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those interesting insights. I'm sure you have given all of us a lot to think about. The next panelist is Ms. Neha Jadav. She's a former researcher from IIT Delhi's Assistech lab, out of which came products like SmartCane and Dotbook. She's presently working as a backend developer at Capgemini. Ma'am, we would love for you to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Neha Jadav, and I'm currently working as a backend developer at Capgemini. I have worked in the field of accessibility for around 5 years with Assistech Lab IIT Delhi. And there I had a lot of opportunities to explore myself in the field of design, development of assistive technology, to publish different papers and do a lot of research and get connected with the users. So first of all, thank you to my professors and colleagues at IIT Delhi who gave me this opportunity in the field of accessibility. So when Saurabh asked me to share my experience, I was not sure as I just changed my domain because of my relocation of the city. But then two thoughts helped me to come to a decision. The first thought was, this is the way I can connect with the field of accessibility again. And second thought was, I'm the correct person as I was the bridge between the professor and the students at IIT Delhi when they were doing projects with the professors. So I can tell you the stories from both the sides. So let me first share my screen and I'll try to give you ideas from where students can pick up projects and they can discuss with their professors and how we try to brainstorm different sessions and come up with the solutions. So just confirm if you can see my slides.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So before starting with the accessibility, there are two things which we can do currently in accessibility. The first is improvement, and second is doing a lot of innovations in the technologies that we have around us. So when I say improvement, I would like to share one incident that happened a couple of days back with me. I was at the mall and we have seen that there are a lot of people around us right now who are disabled, and they are working at restaurants, malls, and helping their in the management teams. So when I went to the mall and I asked them, I want to go to the kids section. So instead of listening to my question, that person immediately signaled me that I can't hear or I can't speak, and just started doing his own work. And as an immediate reaction, I turned back and I started walking to ask someone else. But then I thought, okay, this is not what I should do, as I have worked in this domain, accessibility domain. Let me change my question format. So then I took my son along with me. I showed him to that person, and then I just gestured, I want to buy his clothes. Where should I go? He was so happy to help me. I could see the glitter in his eyes. And then he came along with us, and then he showed us the section and then escorted me to the particular lift and all. So I felt satisfied. I did not ignore her at all. I did not ignore him at all at that point. But then I represented information in such a format that was required by him. I did not change the person or the solution. I just changed the format of the information. So this is what we have to do. Whenever we are developing any product, the solution should be equitable and not equal. Like, I actually love this picture because it gives me a clear difference between equality and equity. So here you can see in the first part that all of these three people who want to see the match, they have given same opportunity to see. But the last person, that small kid, cannot see. And here in the second picture, they all can see equally because we have changed some of the solution or the arrangement that we have done for them. So this is how our solution should be. Like whoever is coming from different, whether they have disability or not, whether they are coming from different culture, whether they do not know the language, whatever the barrier is, the solution should be such that he or she should be able to use your product. Okay. So this is how we can improve when we are developing our solutions. So at Assistech, I started my journey as a researcher where I was employed for the project which is called as Reading Assistant for Visually Impaired People. In this project, we were trying to convert PDF file into accessible format. Initially, I thought, oh, this is such an easy problem. I Googled it. There are a lot of things, online websites which could convert and do this stuff. But then when I started exploring the solutions, which these online platforms or whatever means I use, they were just converting into an image format, which were not accessible by the screen reading softwares. And mathematics and tables, oh, don't ask me the solution for those things. They were so scattered, so inaccessible. Even normal people will not be able to understand the solution given by the online platforms. So clearly, when I was exploring these projects, I come up with two sides when working with Assistech: design problems and development problems. So whenever we are trying to develop any solution, there are two sides: how you are representing your solution to the user, this is one problem, and when you are developing, how you should develop your problem. So this is how I started my journey and developing and understanding this domain, how we can come up with solutions to any particular problem. So let us start, assume that you are working on any project in your college and this project is mathematics detection. So this is how we had also started. So in this example, if you see, this is the mathematical text which is present, and this is at the top, you can see this is English text. So when you see, when we want to understand that this text belongs to mathematics, we can see that the arrangement around the bounding box arrangement around these letters is little scattered. Like at the bottom, they are not along one line, and at the top also, if you can see the superscript and subscript, when we say these things, the alignment is not proper. Now, in the English text also, whenever you are drawing bounding box, the alignment will not be proper at the top because of T, H, and D. They will have some height, but other letters will not. But at the bottom, they will not have. So this is how, this is one direction. When we are trying to detect mathematics from English text, this is the starting point from where we can start thinking how we can come up with a solution. So in our project, we tried to detect the exact bounding box, and then from exact bounding box, we tried to get the center of the point, and from center we would compare if they are coming in one line, or they that particular letter is present at the superscript or at the subscript position of the previous letter, and all these things. So this is how we used to brainstorm a lot of projects in a lot of meetings, and then we come up with a solution. So in this project, we have detected textual content very correctly, accurately, and now the other remaining part is the graphical content. So in the graphical content also, we started processing the images, but let me tell you, images is a very, very difficult area to work on, because you cannot give generalized solution for any image category. Like even if a simple image, we process this image to any machine learning platform today that we have, which give us automatic descriptions. For this image, they will just give as a diagram or as a triangle. But this is not the only information that we have to give to the user. to user, we will have to give that this is a triangle named PQR. There are lines which are, there is one line from Q to T which is doing 90-degree angle, and all these things we will have to give to the user, to all students who are who need to solve this problem. So all this information we try to extract from the image. So even if you as a student, if you are trying to get this image, what all things you have to process in this image, so this is a kind of a problem you still have to find solutions for. But now I have seen that, like, we took this problem 5 years back, and we have tried and tested with the machine learning platforms that were available at that time. But now after 5 years, I'm very sure there are a lot of things that have changed in the machines also, and you can also build projects where you can train your softwares and detect what is present in the diagram. I know that machine learning is a very hot topic nowadays, and students also, I've seen students say that they'll come to me, ma'am, please koi machine learning ka project ho to dila do, that will be very helpful for us and all. So there are a lot of problems which you can solve with machine learning, and irrespective of the domain. I mean, right now I'm talking about print disability, where you can process and generate the description, but there are other way rounds also. Like I have one video which I'll share at the end, and you can take ideas from that video also. So this is a kind of innovation that we need in our domain right now. Another problem, so just to give you one more information about this project was done by a couple of students in IIT Delhi, where they were able to give descriptions in a template format, like how many lines are present, if it is a triangle or not, how many points are there, what all things are present in the information. So this much of information we were able to detect, the students were able to detect, and two students were working on this project, and they both got placed with Microsoft, and they were very happy because they both got all the questions related to project only. So when they were interviewing the interviewers, so they were very happy, so they were very happy that, ma'am, we discussed our project for about 40 to 45 minutes, and panelists were very happy. So I was also happy that they were able to answer, and the project took them to a different level, or they could achieve what they wanted in their life. So this is another same kind of a project, but so here the technology that we use was image processing, and in this we students use machine learning. So in this, the task was to detect the mathematical equations which are present in the file. So we had PDF file which was digitally generated, but to process these files, they needed image. So these PDF files were converted into image format, and then these images were processed to with the YOLO model, machine learning YOLO model, and this YOLO model helped them to detect the mathematical equation correctly. So here we have used some parameters. There are a lot of customization to the model that student has to done, but then yes, result was very nice. They got precision of 99 to 98 percentile. That was very, very good after a lot of customization, of course. So these two students also, one got placed at Microsoft, and other got placed with Samsung, and they also had the similar kind of experience that most of the interview questions were related to this project. So they were also very happy, and they could achieve their final goal. So this is how you can come up with a lot of innovation, and lot of you can get a lot of problems. The problems are around us. Just think that, is this solution or is this problem, can whatever solution is present, that solution can be used by everyone or not. This is one small thought you have to get in your mind and think from that perspective. So I'll just like to show this video because this is very motivating video. So let's see.
I come from a small family, currently staying in Mumbai. My father and my brother are working in finance department, and they wanted me to do the same. But I always believe that my passion is coding. Usually in Indian family, what happens, the father is considered to be the real boss, but in actuality, the mother is the real head of the family. So once my mother is convinced, convincing my father is pretty easy for my mother. When I joined university, I wanted to explore as a person who I was. So I did a lot of things other than computer science. And in 2018, I saw a video by Tanya Finlayson at Google I/O. She helped Google's keyboard team to integrate Morse code into the Google keyboard. And that is something that really inspired me to affect people in a positive way. After graduation, I started volunteering at a deaf and mute institute near my place. After 5 to 6 months of spending time and learning sign language, I was still having problems communicating with them effectively. That's when I realized that somebody who does not know sign language will have a lot of problems communicating with a deaf and mute person. I wanted to use TensorFlow and machine learning to get the images in real time from the camera and then translate them to speech. So basically it was gesture to speech. As any machine learning researcher will do, I searched on the internet for similar data sets. Although I found relevant data sets, these were not that I was looking for. Therefore, in the end, I decided to make my own data set. So I wrote a Python script that was continuously recording different gestures, and at the same time, it was filtering out the background noise, and I was just saving the skeleton images. I showed this initiative to my friends, and they were pretty excited, and they ended up spending a lot of time with me on collecting the data set. So I used Vision API to make my images a bit more clean. But even after doing that, my machine learning model was not performing up to the mark. This is when I realized that with using sign language, you don't have to only depend on the gestures, but your facial expressions also play a very important role. Me and my friends, after this, we went and took thousands of photos with both hand gestures as well as facial features. Of course, my friends were quite upset with me, but I think another pizza really kept their motivation. Before incorporating facial expressions, my machine learning model was just predicting letters and numbers. After adding facial expressions, I could incorporate for much more wider gestures like being scared or being confused, or if you understood something, you could do it very simply. So this really helped my machine learning model appeal to a wider audience. Not feeling well. Machine learning and TensorFlow helped me build a sign language solution for the communities in India. I believe that using the same technologies, people all over the world could solve issues for their own community.
So I think students, you all can start looking at the problems around you. You are in a great institute where you can get all kind of help from incubation, from professors, from mentors. Everyone is around you. You can start building solutions, and you don't know, you may become next entrepreneur and start building your own company, or the companies are also waiting for you with these solutions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your personal experience in the accessibility field as well as inspiring us with Akshay Bahadur's story. Finally, we have Mr. Shashank Pandey, who is a research fellow at Vidhi Center for Legal Policies, a Javed Abedi fellow who works towards increasing political representation of people with disabilities at various levels of governance. Sir, we are very happy to have you here. Over to you for a few words.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Sorry for any disturbance if there is any in the background. I'm at a public place. So thanks a lot for having me here. I was like keenly listening to the earlier two speakers, and they were talking about the design and the technical aspect of it. Now, for my background, I'm a lawyer by profession and have worked in the policy space for the last 2 years after graduation. I've mostly worked with Parliament and lawmakers, and now I'm working at a Vidhi Center, which also works for the government and private enterprises. So I won't be a person who can give you a technical advice on the design element. What I can share with you is the policy aspect and the necessity that we as a policy professional or as a lawyer feel to a disabled person. I'm also a disabled person with a low vision, so I have myself faced a few of these barriers. So The first thing first that I want to start with is that so our idea is that innovation is the enabler that we are looking for. Often we argue that human inputs make a technology or an environment visible. If we leave it to technology and the technology are devised with a neutral mindset, we are a great enabler across society. So that is one of the our major argument that has been out there, and I think you guys should look at the technology as an enabler. And when I say as an enabler, like you shouldn't use your technology specifically targeting a special sector or a special disability, because that sort of limits your approach. So what our belief is that the technology can disability doesn't necessarily is a separate group. Disability works across society. A person might be disabled today, because of any mental issues. A person might become disabled in the future because of old age. So this is a amorphous stage which happens to every person through once in their lifetime. So technology should also be there, that they are not necessarily restricted but also evolve with technologies. What I have seen is that the technologies or the innovation that do happen are mostly restricted to something visible form of disability that we call it. So there will be orthopedically disabled. The technology will be focused around that. Then there will be speech impaired disability, and the most of the innovations are centered around that. Then there is visual disability, and a lot of technologies are centered around that. So these speech, visual, and the orthopedic are the most visible form of disability, right? But also there are a variety of other disabilities. Even the Disability Act that we have in India, that is 2016 Act, it itself recognizes 21 types of disabilities. Now, our as a working policy professional and as a lawyer, our major concern has been that when we argue for accommodation or we argue for inclusiveness, often the solutions that we have at our disposal is limited in terms of visible form of disabilities. A very few innovations actually happen when it comes to mental disabilities or chronic disabilities. Often, a lot of these disabilities or such people belonging to a disability rely on human input, sort of like therapists, etc. And therapists also, although a very learned professional, also might be having certain prejudices because of their past experiences. And we believe that technology can avoid these prejudices that crept in human and actually can help in this sector. Similarly, there is chronic disabilities. Now, the the lacuna that we have observed when it comes to design and innovation is that uh, there is actually no understanding of chronic disability. Even I can't explain to you certain kind of disability because they're so complicated in nature. Just imagine how a layman or even a government machinery will understand those certain kind of disability, and they're very complicated. Often their symptoms are not visible enough, so government or the society presumes that they don't even exist. And this barrier that is of invisibility of the invisible disabilities. I think technology can be a great bridge between the two, that you can devise solutions or devise mechanism which can showcase to the society and the government that see these are the certain kinds of disability that the society doesn't often see, and the technology can actually simplify in a more comprehensive way than our literature do, because we have written a lot of literature that there is this type of disability or this type of disability, but often people are not aware, obviously because of lack of resources and also then lack of knowledge or the simplistic language that should be there. And technology has played a major role in that sector. So now coming to the other sector, what technology can do is with respect to removing attitudinal barriers. So under the Rights of Person with Disability Act 2016, we have recognized many types of barriers. We have recognized infrastructure barrier, we have recognized social barrier, we have recognized digital barrier, and then there is one that we often don't talk about is the attitudinal barrier. And we often the policymakers or the attitude of legislature has been that we will devise technology to overcome infrastructure barrier or digital barrier. But there is also a use of technology which can overcome attitudinal barrier. Now, what I mean by attitudinal barrier is uh, when it can empower people to showcase to the able-bodied people that disabled people are not actually at a disadvantage. they are disadvantaged because the society is framed so, right? And if the technology, without without highlighting them that you are doing something extra for them, just incorporates your solutions for that particular disability or for that particular barrier, just incorporate into your wider framework of the digital framework that you might have, or any framework within which your solutions work. That could play a major role in removing the attitudinal barrier, because then people won't have a presumption that the disabled people want something additional, what you call, but it's not additional. It should be incorporated in the framework by default. Just like you take the interest of gender, female and male gender, and now the other genders that are there, just like you take care of the age groups, in your solutions or in your technology. Similarly, the interest of disabled people should also be, included in it by default, and it shouldn't be what, as a speaker said, an afterthought. So, that is one area that I think the technology or the design failed to do, because they design something and then they come up with a additional solution that caters to a disabled person, and then that perpetuates the idea that this is something additional is being done because of disability. And you will see this phenomenon even in the large digital companies or the MNCs that are out there, and that they employ certain special sector people to devise when they themselves should incorporate the solution. And then the last point that I want to leave you all with is, I think you should also look at bridging the gap between your professional field and the government and the policy framework. Because my experience working with Parliament and the different state government has been that they are actually willing to incorporate these accommodative measures. They just don't know how. So they have to reach out to them, which the bureaucracy is very reluctant to. So I think it can be a reverse phenomena where your professional field or you professionals in designing these solutions can reach out to the government and take charge that, see, we can do a better job in the service delivery, that we have designed this solution which will cater to the entire community across disability and across other sectors of the society. I think there is this gap that both these fields are working in their own sphere, and then there is no this diffusion of ideas, because both are actually working towards the same goal, just they are not working together. I think that is something that you guys maybe can do it, and whenever you design something, tool or any free design that you have designed this competition, I would urge you all to reach out to the government machinery and to the department wherever you feel the solution will be most appropriate, and just reach out to them that, see, we have designed this, and I think this can cater to the needs of the disabled people. And I'm very optimistic the government is actually going to agree to it if there is the solution that you put forward is feasible or feasible. Because I have personally reached out to professionals to come up with the solutions that I wanted for one of the instances that if my site was the accessibility of parliamentary website. I wanted to come up with a solution how the parliament website can be made digitally accessible, and then I reached out to the a few of my engineer friends who are working in the space, and then they devised a solution, and I shared with the government, the NIC, which manages the parliament backend, the website's backend. And then they are very much happy to incorporate this. So I think reach out to the machinery, reach out to the government, and I think your solutions can have a wider effect. It just shouldn't be restricted to any geographic area or smaller community. I think technology, as even the UN recognizes, technology can be a great tool to have an inclusiveness of disabled people this year. This is the theme also of 3rd December. So I think do take these points in mind whenever you're designing any tool, and maybe whoever wins this competition, if you doesn't win this competition, I think you should definitely go forward with your ideas, and maybe one day I might have an opportunity to work with you. So that will be from my side.
Thank you, sir, for those enlightening words about the invisibility of certain disabilities as well as technology as an enabler. So without further ado, let's start with the presentations by the groups. Before we do that, here are some ground rules. We have 5 judges today, our 3 panelists, Dr. Ratnadeep Suri, Ms. Neha Jadav, and Mr. Shashank Pandey. Also joining us will be judges from the Innovation and Incubation Center at IIIT, Mr. Vibhor and Mr. Kulveer. This will be the 5 judges for today. Thank you so much, judges, for taking the time to join us today. Teams will have 5 minutes to pitch their ideas, and judges will have 3 minutes for question and answers. Please try to stay within the time limits that has been prescribed. And let's start. First up, we have Team Kasukabe Defense Group led by Unnati.
Hello everyone. Hi, are we audible? Hello.
Yeah,
You're
that's
audible, but
yeah,
you're
you're
breaking
audible,
up.
but it's,
You're breaking up a little bit. So
Okay. So, all right. Uh, Actually, I wanted to take together, so we would be talking from the same device. Is that okay? Are we audible properly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
So I'm going to present my screen now.
Yeah, just a second. Where is the PPT?
Your
Open the
time
PPT.
starts now.
Yeah.
Okay. Is my screen visible? All right.
Yes, we can see your screen.
So,
Okay. So our product name is Devless, which is a, you can say, a e-commerce platform for people who are definitely able. So we would be telling you about that how e-commerce platform can be used for people who are disabled, right? So Takshi, please go ahead.
all right. So, what we are trying to do is actually in e-commerce platforms, the shoes, the customizable devices that they need are very limited in the market, or whatever they have is not very convenient to use. So, what we are trying to do is, Unnati, my teammate,
A physically challenged person.
is
So I'm
herself suffering from
physically
physical disability in her leg, so she needs a certain type of shoes to walk properly or to walk straight. So in her personal experience, what she discovered was the shoes were very uncomfortable, uh, and the
size and the
size and comfortability were very, and obviously affordability was not
Good.
there, not
Yeah.
good. So what we are trying to do is we will build an e-commerce platform where we would collect vendors from different
we will
state
we
of
will build a supply chain management where we will connect the vendors and the suppliers, and also we will connect the like potential differently able people and e-commerce platform. So are which means they do not have the sorry, because we are outside, so the net. So right now the middle the 5 to 10% of the people, they are keeping that cost friendly, and also we would be having certain features in the website wherein the toggle button would be there for the night blindness people, and we would be also having certain features like text to speech for people who are like, you can say, for the people who are blind, so the like content of the website could be just converted into speech as well. So what's our target audience? Our target audience is the people with locomotive disability, cerebral palsy, and also with certain more like more diseases that are mentioned here. So what's our vision? We are building an e-commerce platform for disabled people with all the customization filters, which means customization, which means is a size. and the filters is various colors and all that stuff. So we are making that wish list kind of a particular thing as well that Amazon does. So we are making the shopping experience as good as possible for them, and we are also making them feel inclusive.
Hello, can you please speak a little louder?
Hey, I think my teammates just broke off. Yes, they're in a shaky.
Yeah, so please, if one of you can continue, I think we are already past the time limit.
Right. So, cool. I'll just sub in for them in the time being. So, from the implementation perspective, Unnati already covered that the website would be featuring a toggle button that would.
And we are also planning to include a bot. So what bot will do is it will serve.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Are we audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's breaking. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we are outside, so that's the issue. So, but to just to summarize, for the business model, we are planning to have the like the impact that this how this website will look will create an impact. So this will be the one-stop solution for all the needs of disabled people. We are impacting lives and making their save their pockets, and we are also making them inclusive in the community. So yeah, that's the thing. And also when we talk about that how Amazon if Amazon can copy us, so yeah, that's the main question. So Amazon is basically having a major target audience that is the normal people. So even if they continue to have that niche market, that doesn't for them to implement that will take a lot of time, and also they would not do it since the profit making is less in this kind of a market. So yeah, that's the thing. And so we are just targeting certain inclusive communities. So yeah, that's our plus point.
I guess that would be it from our side.
If you have any
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you, Team Kasukabe. Now we'll have questions from the panelists. Panelists, please go ahead.
Are we audible properly?
Yeah, panelists, if you have any questions for the team, you can please unmute yourself and ask.
Anirudh, may I?
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So the team, my question would be to how many people have you talked to till now in terms of the potential customers, and what are the feedbacks you are getting from those stakeholders?
Yeah. Satakshi, can you play the testimonial that we have collected?
We have collected a testimonial. So if you have a permission, we can play the video.
No, not the testimonials. Testimonials will be from one customer. Like to how many customers you talk to, and then you have designed the website.
Yeah.
And
So I am already suffering from a disease called cerebral palsy. So people like me, there are around 15% of the Indian population that are having the cerebral palsy issue. So right now we have talked to 10 to 15 people, and they think the vendors wala issue is a very huge problem for them. Since to find vendors, it is very difficult for us to find, right? Because it's not again in the rural areas. It is only prevalent in the metropolitan cities. So yeah, that's the thing. Since the time was less, we can only configure from 15 people only.
okay, thank you.
If you have any questions, you can go ahead.
Yes. So have you also contacted vendors, or you have only contacted with the customers?
Yeah, ma'am. So I have a vendor who sells these kind of shoes, and he is currently living in Delhi. So we have all the chains of the vendors in Delhi, and these kind of also in Bangalore, in metropolitan cities. So 2-3 vendors I've contacted with.
I have one question. So, do you differentiate the need of those who need orthopedic shoes versus is there a differentiation in your mind about customized shoes for say orthopedic patients versus other disabilities that are not orthopedic but still require customized shoes?
Yeah, so basically, sir, I like for the cerebral palsy, we need certain kind of suits which has rods, and these kinds of suits can only be recommended by the doctors,
Yes,
prescribed by the doctors. So
yes.
orthopedic has certain kind of other kinds of customization, such as maybe having certain kind of a bone bone reformment improvement or certain kind of a feature, right?
Yes,
So that customization we will also include in our website as well.
yes, but
And
it's already been done, right? I mean, we have orthopedicians who recommend. See, I'm coming from the point of I myself wear shoes. I have spina bifida.
Okay.
So I use shoes that lift my left leg is lifted up and my right to create a ambulatory balance. It's one left leg is smaller than the right leg.
Okay.
So there are people who actually measure your shoe length and all that and do it. Are we looking at that specialized orthopedic shoes or is it just uh, based on standard
Orthopedic
models?
shoes, yes, sir. Orthopedically, and those are also recommended by the doctors, and those are like made by the manufacturers and all that stuff. So
so we are also planning to have a doctor facility in our website, which the customers can consult the doctors before buying.
Okay. That was
I
not very
hope
clear
that
in your
answers
presentation.
your doubt.
Yeah. That was not very clear in your presentation. That's why I asked because there is no medical intervention, right?
We
So,
have the medical intervention, sir. We have the doctor facility up, and we will have the doctors while a chain as well in the website as well.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from the
Yeah.
panelists?
Hi, team. A great, initiative. So I just wanted to understand, like, have you thought about the business plan as well, like how you are going to,
Yes, so
Yes.
make money from?
Rohit, are you here?
Yeah, I can definitely.
Can you just brief that?
Thank you. Yes, I was actually planning to come on and pitch in the last question itself, but thank you for bringing the business plan. So before talking about the revenue streams, the market entry that we're planning would be with two verticals. The first one would be directly tying up with multiple doctors across the nation who would recommend patients directly to the website. So right now, what happens in the market is generally the doctor tie-ups with a single vendor, and that vendor does not need to have the best quality or the customization available, and because of that the end users suffer. So we could directly tie up with the doctors to recommend them to our websites and have a commission sharing model. The second one would be tying up, the second vertical would be tying up with NGOs to spread awareness about the ease, accessibility and affordability of equipments for disabilities right from the D Plus platform. These would be the two market entry points. And on the revenue streams, like any e-commerce platform, the first few revenue streams would be commission on sales, ads by the vendors on the website to be promoted on top. And the third one, and the quite interesting one we found was while talking to Unnati, who herself uses one of those shoes, is she outgrows the shoes multiple times every couple of years or every year, but the shoes still retain their shape and are still accessible and usable, not only by her though. So we plan to implement a secondary market where we can have a buyback feature from the customer itself, take them in-house, refurbish them, make them almost new, and then sell at a discounted price. That would also give us a good profit margin and at the same time be cost effective to the end user. This basically targets the lower middle class and middle class family who would still find it difficult in affording these equipments. And the third thing, this would be majorly a scaling opportunity, not a basic revenue stream. But once we get steady with our revenue streams, we plan on to bring a yearly subscription model instead of buying the equipments on one hefty amount. It could be small subscription fees that would highly be affordable and hence drive adaptability throughout the community, as we saw a stat of 90% people not being able to have the assisted equipments. So yeah, subscription model we think would highly scale up the business once we set up the proof of concept and are a little stable as a company. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks, Rohit. And just a follow-on question, what would be the size of the market of this market?
So
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I can go ahead. So we had a small census research done by Unnati. So around 90% of people don't have the assistive equipments, and from the total Indian population of people suffering with disabilities, around 15 to 20% suffer from cerebral palsy, which would be the use of our first product, the shoes that we plan on to bring. It's widely large market. I don't have a pin on the exact number. Unnati, if you would like to jump in, if you have a number on that.
So the 15 to 5 to 15% of the Indian population, it's again around 1+ billion people who are having the cerebral palsy. Then we would be having the features and the enhancements in the website where we would be introducing the blind people, equipments for the blind people, and such as blind sticks and all that stuff. And then we would be also
Thank you, Team Kasukabe, for the presentation. I request all the participants to keep their answers short and to the point to the panelists' questions. We'll be moving on to the next team now. We have Team Twoi, led by Shivam Gupta. Team, you can begin with your presentation. You have 5 minutes.
Have you noticed how many different companies have special recruitment drives for females and the LGBT community members and this and that? But it makes sense. Provided with a diverse workforce, you can create a positive brand image more effectively for different racial backgrounds. Broadening the talent pool can be instrumental in a company's success, employee retention, improving decisions, and many more. Here is Discom on how persons with disabilities can benefit from this opportunity. We are computer science students at IIIT Delhi, all of whom dream of a more inclusive world for everyone. Problems. Disabled people are more susceptible to negative thoughts and depression. Unemployment rates among disabled people are high, even though many can do productive work and bring value to the workplace. Lack of accessibility in the edtech space is not something we have not heard of. Initially, we wanted to do something to make persons with disabilities feel more content and happy with their lives. But we came up with something even better. So what is Discom? Discom is a professional networking site for PWDs that uses artificial intelligence to help them holistically be on the top of the job game, be it through building their skills or participating in special recruitment drives for PWDs. Discom is like a networking event for people with disabilities. Talk a little bit about yourself, exchange business cards, learn from each other, and get hired.
Here's a service overview, which stands on 3 pillars: special job listings for the physically disabled, promoting belongingness in the community, and an accessible career-oriented learning environment. Here, we are inspired by women-centric initiatives to create an inclusive and equal environment in professional spaces. We talked to multiple companies over the weekend, and companies clearly mentioned their desire to create an inclusive environment and hire the differently abled, by creating an exclusive platform for them to do so. Going hand in hand, we're building a safe community to instill a sense of comfort and encourage interaction. It acts as an online support group. And obviously, we're going to make the site accessible. We're going to extensively organize how we can accommodate disabilities holistically. We do this by taking into account two complementary forms: access to learning, which means providing a shared curriculum similar to people without disabilities, and learning to access, which involves having an additional curriculum to achieve the self agency of the learner.
And we have a robust and self-sustaining business model that we give fruitful returns. We will generate revenue from promoting companies and products for PWD on the community page and revenues for providing certifications for accessible career-focused courses. But it's much more than about the impact and greater good. Discom will help thousands of people with disabilities find employment, be a part of a thriving community, leading to better family relationships, better opportunities, and better health. We also have a few functionalities that we are planning to implement in the future, where current job seekers can begin to promote the value they bring to the workspace instead of just the static resume promotion currently available. We are also planning on releasing a feature, Discord Local, in which we want to make it easier to find people within a certain radius of your location and meet them physically. Thank you for your attention.
We are open to any questions.
Okay. Hi, team. So can you please help us understand, like, how people with disabilities, for example, if someone is not able to see, will be able to access your portal or your website, or with any other disability related to vision, how will he access the website, he or she?
Okay, so it's obviously very hard to do so, but someone in the family can do so. Like I have someone in my family who is blind, and her daughter was actually searching jobs for her. So that was not possible because there's no exclusive platform where she can search jobs which are available for blind people. So if we can have an exclusive platform to do so, and it's not about how you can. We can obviously try, like in the coming future, if websites can be more accessible, like people are developing braille keyboards and all that. So if that is happening, we are obviously going to integrate that with our website. But as of now, if someone in the family can also see those jobs, I think that will also be a great help.
We can also add voiceover features, like in which we can tag every other column and option to a specific text, so that the blind people can easily listen and understand what they have to fill by their own.
I have another question. This is Dr. Ratan here. So when you talk about a portal for disabled people for jobs, right? So tell me one thing, are you making a job site that is accessible, or is your listing of jobs exclusively tailored to disabled people's skills and skill sets? Because there are two different things. Making a see, it's like take LinkedIn. You can make LinkedIn accessible, which caters to a lot of disabled people, and you can create a website that can actually have jobs that are exclusively tailored to disabled people. These are two different things. So where is what problem are you trying to solve here?
Yes, so we're trying to do both of them in short. Like basically, the first thing is when we're providing listings of people disabled. So, for example, if someone does have to search for a job, and
so if they happen to be disabled, they can just like use our special we can use a special filters to see if they specifically for disabled people. Like we can see like Amazon's women's for Wonder program that is specifically for women candidates. So they can use those filters that these MNCs want to have, especially for disabled people. So we are going to have all these filters in our website, and that is currently not present on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is sort of a wide platform. It caters to all the, like it is catering to Latin Americans and all that. Like LGBT community is also there. So it is sort of a diverse route. We want to help people find belongingness among themselves.
And जैसे like for example हम एक website बना रहे हैं which has job listings for people who are disabled, then it would not make sense if they're not able to use the website themselves. So that is why we're not only creating a website which has job listings, we're also making it accessible in multiple ways.
Okay, I'll ask you this question in a different way. See, there is a blind student, blind PhD. There's a person who wants to apply to a faculty position who's blind. So will your website also have faculty positions?
Yeah.
Without it being targeted to blind people, but blind people can anyway apply to the job through your website.
Yeah.
It's not a job exclusively for blind people. But a blind person can apply for the job. Say, for example, a music teacher, or say, for example, any job that does not require visual skills.
Okay.
So how does your website address that issue? There are two different issues, right?
So we have the same job listings on different websites like LinkedIn, Indeed, and all that. Our website is basically catering to the people with disabilities. And if your job allows you to like hire disabled people, you can obviously list it on our website. That is up to you, the employer. And we disabled people are like our job is our site is obviously for disabled people. So they are going to know that this job is open to them. Like in LinkedIn, it is not specific. Maybe the employer doesn't want to hire the disabled people.
Just a second, team. Sir has already pointed out very clearly, and he has a very valid point, because there are a lot of jobs for them also. There are other organizations also who are helping them to get their jobs, to get them training. So you also mentioned that you want career development career development pillar also in your company. So these are very different things. I think focusing on one perspective will be more helpful. Like you can list jobs, because making a website accessible, it's very easy nowadays. Everything is possible. If you are using basic HTML, CSS, you can make your website accessible. That is not a problem. But sir has pointed out very correctly that focus on one problem, and which is less known, which is required problem. Okay.
Yeah, because don't solve too many problems and end up not solving one thing, any one of the problems effectively. Take one problem and solve it effectively. That is very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
So I can like take a small example here. So like I open LinkedIn, I see Amazon's bundle for women job listing, and I'm a male candidate. That job obviously isn't for me. So if I open LinkedIn and I see thousands of jobs, and I have to roam them through and maybe see if they are accessible to me, a disabled person. And if you have like 50 jobs and they are all of them are open to them, so we are also like reducing a few steps in a way. So that is also more accessible, and our platform is obviously only catering to disabled people. So we are going to use the best accessibility features, and obviously want to be on top of the game. Like.
Thank you, Team Twoi. Next, we have Ignitedmindz, led by Arjun Raj. Team Ignitedmindz, you can start your presentation.
So hi everyone, we are Team Ignitedmindz. Let me share my screen.
Hi Anurid, just one question. So Team LocalHost 3000. So are we skipping it?
They'll be going next, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Kindly follow the order that you have listed in the Excel sheet, because it's very confusing. We should not end up putting points for a wrong team because they are in a linear order.
Yes, sir. Definitely, we understand that, but it's that some people have connectivity issues, so they've dropped out of the meet, so they'll be joining in. We didn't want to delay the whole thing, so we have moved on to the next team. We'll be doing, we'll be announcing the names. We'll try to adhere to the list as well.
Sorry for announce the name and the project name so that we don't make a mistake. Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Roger, can you please do that? Can you please announce your team name as well as project name so that it's easier for the panelists as well?
And
Thank you.
serial number from our sheet, Anirudh, that will be helpful.
Okay, ma'am.
So hi everyone, we are Team Ignitedmindz, and our idea is Rath, an accessible wheelchair for the paraplegic. So what is Rath actually? So on an engineering level, Rath is an electric wheelchair, to empower the paraplegic people to move from one surface, to move from the wheelchair to another surface. The wheelchairs that are currently existing in the market are very hi-fi, but it doesn't support the movement from the wheelchair to any other surface. And most of the paraplegic people do face a grave issue on this matter. So what we do is for example, a paraplegic person is there and they need to go to the commode and they can't go without the help of the caretaker. And I'm sure that any paraplegic person won't like anyone to take them to commode and bring back from there to the wheelchair, because it is a example of like an intrusion to their privacy or something. So what Rath focuses is about enabling these people to move from the wheelchair to any other surface without any external help or something. Currently, people, what they use is like they have a plank which they use, so they get the support from the plank to move from the wheelchair to the bed or the commode or wherever they want to go. But carrying a plank everywhere along with them is not feasible at all. So yeah, now let's talk about how Rath helps them to do it. So Rath is actually a electric wheelchair that is accompanied with robotic armrests and motorized seat arrangements. And it also supports supports attachable modular physiotherapeutic devices, so that people could attach the physiotherapy devices to help them exercise or something, so that they don't have to go somewhere and actually put a strain. So actually, why do we need Rath in this world? As I said earlier, Rath actually tries to solve these problems, because paraplegic people find it difficult to access toilets, as they need to transfer themselves from the wheelchair to the toilet seat. And paraplegic people, they always require to have a plank, so that they could use the support of the plank to move from the wheelchair to the any other surface. And because of prolonged sitting on the wheelchair, they also suffer from chronic back pain. And women usually during the period times, they go through painful cramps because they can't, because of limited mobility and exercises. So how Rath functions is like, it has a flap-based seating arrangement and a foldable backrest. So what happens is like, and as you can see here, we have the robotic armrest, and the control system that actually supports this robotic armrest makes sure that the entire robotic armrest stays horizontal when the person is trying to stand. So there's a button over there on the robotic armrest, and when the person presses on the button, the seats actually open and the entire system moves upward, taking the person on a higher level or to stand, and then pressing it again will take the robotic arm to backwards. So basically what we need to do is like, the person has to come or arrange themselves in front of the seating where they have to get transferred to, and then press on the button that is present on the robotic arm, and it will help the person to first stand, and from there to the surface, as you can see in these images. And moreover, even paraplegic people can't access things that are on a higher height. So from this mechanism, you can see that it helps the person to stand and take or access something that is on a higher height without the help of any other person. And moreover to it, we also enable the wheelchair to attach modular physiotherapy modules, so that, for example, here we could see the pedaling system, which would help these paraplegic people to do timely exercises for their leg and all. And yeah, so these are the physiotherapy modules that could be used and attached to the entire wheelchair. Yeah, so this is the basic idea of Rath. So now on to the panelists.
Thanks, team Ignitedmindz. Panelists, do you have any questions?
Yeah, may I, Anirudh?
Yes, sir, you can go ahead.
So team, I would just like to know what are the existing solutions and what additional feature or the limitations you are solving from them.
Actually, the existing wheelchairs are very high tech, and they enable, mostly what they do is like helping the person to navigate through different terrains and stuff. But here what we are solving is like helping the person to move from one surface, from the wheelchair to another surface, without the help of any external person or a caretaker. This will be very helpful when they are trying to go to the washrooms or something, where they don't want to have a helping hand.
So what will be the cost around? Have you estimated that?
Investment, because it's very engineering centric, so it will be very heavy on cost, but we haven't decided on that because it's just uh, an intuition that or on a blueprint which we like to implement. So cost will be more or less equivalent to that of an electric wheelchair or a higher end electric wheelchair that's available in the market.
As the cost increases, the audience will decrease. I mean, the buyers will decrease. So try to make it affordable.
Yeah, sure. That will be a point that we'll keep in mind. Any other questions?
Panelists, do you have any more questions?
No, from my side.
Just one question. So as per the body of the person, you will be able to adjust
Yeah, we can adjust the height of the robotic arm.
width also. Like if someone is very thin, then they have to reduce the width and adjust the person also. Will it be possible? Or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
height?
Yeah, from an engineering perspective, we can make it, but yeah, we can make it, but I don't know about the cost, how it will impact, because we making it more modular in the sense like the area constraints and the technology that will be fitting into the entire wheelchair.
Correct.
That must be adjusted accordingly.
Yes, correct. Because it will take at least 270-degree turn. The arm that you are showing us, that should take at least 270-degree turn.
Yeah.
If not 360, then 270 is the
270, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll now move on to with our next team. The next team is LocalHost 3000, and the team leader is Chinmay.
Hello everyone, good evening. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, Chinmay.
Okay, good evening everyone. I am Chinmay and today I'm taking this opportunity to present my problem statement for today's event. So I'm here to talk about web accessibility for people suffering from vestibular disorders. The vestibular disorder of a human body basically includes the parts of the inner ear and brain that process the sensory information and give us the information regarding controlling balance and eye movements. And if a disease or injury occurs and it damages these processing areas, they can be disorders of dizziness and balance. And these disorders fall into many categories depending upon the type and causes, but the common ones are DPPV, labyrinthitis, vestibular migraines, and more. A common and major symptom of these disorders is recurring dizziness and vertigo in the patient due to many forms of trigger. And these triggers can be excessive head movements, etc. My problem statement today talks about one such trigger, that is the problems posed by animations and designs on websites, which we see these days, and how we can devise a solution for the same. Here I've listed some common yet prevalent examples of website designs which might cause a person with an underlying condition to feel dizzy and get the feeling that they're losing their balance. And these features include scaling and zooming, spinning and vortex effects, multi-directional movements, parallax scrolling, flickering lights, etc. So what do I have to propose here as a solution today? For regulating such web animations, features, and designs, we can develop an effective browser extension. With a purposeful regulation over motions and animations, the user will control how the content is rendered for them, and thus this will make web surfing more accessible. Now, with increasing awareness around the issue of disabilities these days, a lot of features already exist in many developing languages to make the content more accessible. But the need of the hour is to concentrate those features provided into a single use case so that we can try our best to mitigate the barriers as precisely as possible. So I'll be talking about 4 aspects of a web page which a user will have the control over. The male control will be over the motion animation, which can be the main trigger when a user surfaces a website. And these animations can be CSS animations, GIFs, HTML videos, etc. Next, a user might face difficulty when presented with contrasting color themes or fluorescent lights and flickering videos on a web page. The extension will be designed to take control of these elements as well. Next is readability, and this feature will help both people with vertigo as well as people who face eye strains on a regular basis. And this extension will control the rendered font size and size of the web page in accordance to the user's need. And it can also be customized. Lastly, a study by Vestibular Disorders Association states that a widescreen monitor with a display aspect ratio ranging between 19 to 22 inches is helpful for a person with vestibular disorder who writes and edit documents, because this aspect ratio screen allows to have two full-size pages to be displayed side by side, which reduces the amount of scrolling required and the head movements made. And all these features will be made highly customizable and accessible for the user. I have put some code snippets here underlining the implementation idea behind the browser extension, where we will use CSS accessibility functions and motions reducing handles, which can easily give us the functionality that we require to disable or change animation, transition values, or even serve a different background. There's also an example for toggle animation, which we can make using JavaScript, which lets us turn animations in major formats like iframe elements or JavaScript elements on and off. Some more examples of CSS handlers, which we can use to adjust the aspect ratio of the screen, which I was talking about. So talking about the feasibility and impact, the browser extension can easily be developed and distributed for general purposes with support for all popular browsers. And as of now, the best part will be that it will be free to use for every kind of user. And the guides and research are extensively available for vestibular disorders, which will ensure best practices and also recommend safe standards for developing these features, which we can take help from. I need to highlight here that the targeted incidents are really high, with some estimates claiming that up to 40% of the population suffers vertigo at least once in their lifetime. And the primary literature study done shows that minimal implementation of such software solutions are done with such extensive detail and customizability. With this, I end my pitch and thank all of you to listening for me patiently. I hope I managed to intrigue you all with the ideas that I put forward.
Thanks, Chinmay. Now, panelists, do you have any questions for Chinmay?
Yeah, first of all, Chinmay, very nice presentation. This is very small project, I can see that, but the impact will be more. I mean, we can see the solutions which are very particular to you, a particular group of users, but that can be extended to general users also. So this is very nice. I just want to ask, I hope you are also covering different platforms and browser responsiveness while designing all these things.
Yes, so the browser support will be taken care of, like the different kinds of browser that are available today. And I think using simple developing languages as well, we have these features from which we can give control on each kinds of browser, like the popular browsers that are present today on which a user might access the websites.
I have another question. Can this product be extended to other platforms like video games and all that, where people do have issues related to the flashing and sudden jerky movements that are there in video game environments, which prevents them from actually taking part in video game, playing video
Yes,
games?
actually, yeah. The feature can be extended, and the idea which I got for this presentation was because I came across such a product which was solving these issue of flickering lights in YouTube videos. So people who have motion sensitivity. So that product was specifically designed for people who want to skip these flickering lights in a YouTube video. So with some extension, this product can be extended to these kinds of users as well.
Okay, thank you.
So if you, Chinmay, just a suggestion, if you make it modular, that will be very easy for you to extend to other platforms.
Okay.
Modular as in based on functions only. So these functions can be used by other platforms.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Okay.
What would be your business model? Like, who will be your paying customers?
So, sir, this project, I didn't really take the business model in my mind because I was developing a simple Chrome extension, and I think that is something which can be, we can allow the user to freely access because Chrome extension, like there are paid versions as well, but for the initial stages of the product, I think, given the diaspora that this product is coming, it is already very limited. So for now, it is like the idea is to keep it freely available and accessible.
So, like for your initiative, this will remain only one product, or then how will you be covering those development costs and upgradation of the features and all those?
Yes, so like the previous suggestions, if we have to extend it to, like if we have to make it modular and extend it to a wider user base, I will sure be considering the cost that will be incurred as well. But for now, the idea was really simple. So the business model wasn't really in my head when I was preparing and kind of brainstorming. But yeah, if the product is extended and the user base the targeted audience is extended, I will be considering that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Chinmay, just one small query. So I guess the website developers won't be required to make their website in a way that it fits to this extension. Means they just have to do their job which they normally do, right? They don't
Yes,
need
sir.
to do anything extra for this.
Yes, sir. The extension will be made browser compatible, and some websites are there which can block extensions, but most of the websites, like it isn't really dependent on what kind of website you're opening or the developer of a website. It is mainly a browser compatible extension.
Okay.
Thank you, Chinmay. Now moving over to the next team, FutureX. Aditya Dyagi, take the lead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Aditi from Team FutureX, and I would like to first thank you, everyone concerned, for giving us this opportunity. Okay, moving on to our problem. You have seen that blind people के लिए क्या होता है कि उनकी जो education होती है that is mainly based on verbal communication. Teacher पढ़ाता है वो पढ़ते हैं. Okay. कोई भी अगर पीपीटी है कोई भी पीडीएफ है जो भी रिटन टेक्स्ट है इमेजेस हैं लोगोस हैं ग्राफ्स हैं दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड इट दे कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट ओके एंड देयर इज वन अदर मेजर प्रॉब्लम कि कोई भी ऐप यूज करते टाइम दे डोंट हैव दैट वॉइस कमांड ओके for to address these issues we present you Astute Vision. Here we are developing an app that is both accessible to the teachers and the students as well. Teacher is supposed to upload some PPT, and we are introducing an AI model through which students would be able to hear what is written on the text, and it will also be explained. All the diagrams, all the graphs, etc., all the images, they will all be explained through Astute Vision. Also, ये app use कैसे किया जाएगा? We have keywords for this, like blind people, they can scroll through it. So we have like options like close, open, next slide, previous slide, like that. This is how they'll navigate the gap. So we all study from PPTs and also why not making it accessible to blind students as well and digitalize their education. Now Abhinav will take over from here.
Thank you, Aditi. One second.
So Aditi, I guess so is the presentation over?
No, sir, I'm presenting.
Oh,
there
okay.
was a slide delay. Okay, so we all know now discuss the user experience and advantages and how we will use this our app. So as our app name is Astute Vision, which means having or showing a ability to accurately access situations or people and turn this on any advantage. So before Astute Vision, there were many problems such as communication problem with teacher or on presentation slides, such as when teacher explaining something, there may be misunderstanding between the students that what teacher has explained. And students have limited options to enrich their learning experience and digital skills, and they also have to present in the class. And this is not common because many blind students live in village areas, and they can't access school and those facilities of school. So after Astute Vision, our app, students will get better understanding of what the PPT which teacher is using with our AI text and audio converter, which will convert all the data shown in that PPT into an audio form, and that will be explained to them in their earpiece, that is earphones. Students will be able to understand the image and graphical illustrations by AI image and diagram to audio converters. Comparatively, this will be a greater reliability option. Now, my friend Aditya will take over from here.
Hello. Hello everyone, I'm Aditya, BTech second year student. Now, you guys are thinking what's our implementation approach. As we are aware, our main objective is to close the education achievement gap for blind students. We would be designing an application for improving the interaction. First of all, we will design a perfect algorithm for correct application functioning, and that would be our first approach. Our strategy would be to make this app voice command accessible, and additionally, we will use AI technology to improve the education. And we would train our machine with a lot of data to make it simple to execute many tasks. Main technology we would be focusing image pre-processing, object-based classification, information generation, and obviously we would be testing and generability are the final steps. Let's discuss about the feasibility. Technical feasibility. To make our application better, all we need is a database and regular updates. In order to improve the user interface, we will also make some of our work open source. Means that some security, some application, some interface that requires some additional security, we would not do it open source. Otherwise, rest of it would be open source. And the next is financial feasibility. It will be feasible for uh, from a financial standpoint in all respect. Let's talk about what would be the impact of this app. The technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning plays a vital role in the development of IT sector. We have made use of this technology for the visually impaired people so that they too can lead a normal and independent life like other people and enhance learning. The friendly voice assistant helps the visually challenged to navigate what to do inside the app, and moreover, the text recognition helps in the reading and analyzing. The development of the proposed system, if completed, it can serve the visual challenged people with a better resistance. And as Aditi said, that poor blind children can also use this app obviously, and it could be a revolution in the education sector. At last, I would like to thank all of you for listening to our idea. Thank you.
Thank you, team. Panelists, any questions?
Hi, team. So, like, I would like to understand, like, how it is different from the existing solutions like Google and all those text to speech. And the other thing, how you are expecting, low income. During your presentation, you said that you are targeting low income group as well. They can use your app. So how do you think that they'll be having smartphones accessible to them to use your app?
Sir, as you said that it would be based on the voice recognition system, like the app would ask the user to pass the commands. Like we would just say that uh, open this thing, then it would be open this thing. Like you have provided PPT before the class, then it would convert the entire uh, images and all the things into the text, into the voice, into the audio, and you could listen to this. It would help around 2.2 billion people in the world are visually impaired, and it would help everyone.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask a couple of questions, please?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone ever tried to understand what is the learning mode for visually challenged people when it comes to visuals? Say, for example, a person has never seen a visual if he's blind. So by simply converting it into text, do you think they can actually learn and comprehend what the text is describing? And second, have you actually talked to a visually challenged person to see how they learn information that's presented visually to them?
Sir, I was in convent school when I was studying. So we had visited a hospital which was in our convent school only, and there was a school for blind people, and we used to visit that school, and I saw that many students were studying there. But we talked to one of them. I have not talked to them near 10 days. I've talked them very means I've talked to them in like 2018 or something. So I asked them, is there any problem you face at that time? Like just for fun, we were talking with them, and they told us that we understand, but there is a problem that when teacher is explaining, we understand, but if there is any problem again at home, they can't understand it again, so they have to revisit the school next day, and they have to ask the question to the teacher. But if there is an exam or something, so how they will prepare for that? If next day is the exam, then this app will help them. Like today's world, mostly teachers use PPTs for presentation and make the students teach. So the PPT would be sent to them, and by our app we can translate the images and visual graphical diagrams to audio form, and they can have their benefits.
I didn't still understand how you can convert visual information into textual information from a learning perspective. What does it even tell them? Will it tell them there is a long bar, there is a straight line at 30 degrees? Does it make any sense?
We can explain like there is a flow chart or something, so we can explain that the thing is starting from here, and there are two sides of it. One is explaining about this, and other is explaining about the other thing, and we can characterize it like normal. Normal teachers are explaining to us.
Yeah, that is because you're a visually abled person. I think there is a little bit of disconnect between your understanding of how visually challenged people learn and how normal vision people learn. And that bridge is not very clear. But anyway, thank you.
I just want to add to this, Abhinav, I think in your project or your presentation, there is very less focus on the conversion, which is the main part of your idea. When you're trying to say that you're trying to convert text and graphics both by the same AI, it is not possible. Let me tell you, I have worked on the similar idea for 5 years, and we could not convert any graphical image successfully into textual format or audio format with the help of AI. Because AI does not give you a result in binary format, yes or no. It gives you accuracy level. So the way you're thinking that yes, AI model will give you answers, no, they do not give you answers in the format which you are thinking. And what rightly sir said, that there is a very big gap in your understanding how students are pursuing their graphical information. Just go and read. There are a lot of stuff. Tactile diagrams are there. Then there are 3D printed models are there. How they perceive. You have to categorize your audience. It is not very simple that just convert the PPT into audio format. You have to categorize higher level students who are doing graduation and post graduation. All those students in school level, also primary level students and the next level students. And also then you have to categorize as late blind and congenital blind, because late blind, they have visual image in their brain, whereas congenital blind, they do not have any idea how the thing looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a very big problem, and sir has rightly pointed out that you have to think on how you are going to give your output and focus on conversion, not how you are making your app accessible. You know, making app accessible is a very simple nowadays. Screen readers are very good. I mean, if you go to voiceover and talkback, they're very nice. Even if you say NVDA JAWS, they are very good screen readers which are available today. You have to focus on the conversion.
And also a general advice when you're thinking about these problems, first understand the social correctly before you throw in a very complex technology. See, AI is a technology, but it cannot address or solve all problems. So you have to understand the social aspect of it. When I say social, it is also how people behave, how they do things. Before you actually jump in and say, okay, I'll throw in AI and then all the problem is solved. It doesn't work with disabilities or special, where you are looking at the things from a normal world perspective and you're trying to tweak a solution slowly so that it matches your vision of normal world. Their world is entirely different, especially visually challenged people, as ma'am has said. They cannot perceive shapes if they're congenitally blind. They don't know what is a straight line. They don't know what is straight and crooked and angle and right and left. So how does image get converted into words, contribute to their learning? It's very problematic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, team FutureX. Now we will go on with the next team, Orientbelts.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, Saloni, you are.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We are Team the Orientbelts, and the idea that we would be presenting today is Mind Memory, an initiative to heal and empower. So the track that we have chosen today is health and mobility. The problem statement is dependence of bedridden people on others and their health tracking. So just imagine that you're stuck on your bed and you're not able to do simple tasks such as switching on the light. So it is a very pathetic feeling to experience, right? So that is the problem that we are tackling today. And for that, we have come across a very innovative solution.
So, what is the solution? We have a sensor-based module which detects brain waves and concentration levels of and facial muscle movements of the subject. The sensor is an EEG sensor, namely the NeuroSky MindWave Mobile 2 EEG sensor. The first aspect of a module caters to making the day-to-day life of a bedridden patient easier and stress-free. For it, the sensor and the module will be configured such that when the patient concentrates on a particular task out of the predefined and the configured ones, a signal is sent to activate it. The task can be as simple as lighting a light bulb, or maybe operating their electronic beds, or even navigating their wheelchairs. The second aspect of the module caters to the health tracking and the monitoring of these people. The data from the sensor can help decipher the mental state, the concentration levels and restlessness of the person, and their improvement from the therapy that they are being provided. People who suffer from epilepsy, etc., get seizures, and people with neurological disorders tend to experience seizures and jerks a lot, which cannot be monitored easily by a normal person or their acquaintances. Our sensor and the data from it can differentiate between them and record them with timestamps and generate a report out of it. That report can be easily presented to the doctor, and this would lessen the communication gap between the person and their medical supervision would increase. This is how the sensor would look like, and the readings from it can be seen. The tech stack that we would be using, the major part, the hardware requirements would be the EEG sensor itself, and some Bluetooth modules and IoT services would be required to make the sensor and the data communicate with the appliances. The software requirements would be the machine learning and deep learning techniques, which would help decipher the data and classify it. Also, an application would be required, like Flutter can be used to make and build that application.
Moving on, the overall impact of a product, since the use of the product is not limited to only bedridden people. It can also be used in various sectors of life to improve concentration by making people play mind control games, and also it can be used to help people facing suffering from hyperactivity. Also, with the tassel of the Russian scenario we live in, mental health negligence is becoming dominant with each passing day, and we aim to provide better solutions to people through this product. The unique selling point of this product would be that there is no existing solution for independent operation and health tracking in the current scenario. There is no way of tracking the mental well-being of the person from the comfort of their homes. Hence, this idea is unique and different from all the existing solutions that we have today. This idea would help provide independence and the right medical supervision to the concerned people. Moving on to the customer size and cost estimation.
We have identified our customer market for the initial phase. Old people. 5 to 6% of the old people suffer severe ailments, leading them bedridden. Neurological patients. They often feel difficult to express themselves and perform the basic tasks. Paralytic patients. Paralysis causes immobility and they can't even express sometimes due to facial paralysis in severe cases. Then people with specific disability. We have identified that our solution offers help to people with speech and movement disability. When talking about the cost estimation point, today one EEG sensor costs around 10 to 15,000. The software would cost an estimate of rupees 1,000 per user, which when multiplied with the initial batch of customers would easily give the cost of the software facilities.
These are some of the related works and the research papers that we have used to formulate this pitch. Thank you everyone for your time. We are open to questions now.
Okay, I have one question. The papers you cited are all lab experiments, and probably another two are field experiments. So in real world scenario, if you're asking a mentally ill patient or a patient with a lot of neurological disorders to wear something on their head whole day, is that even feasible? Do you think people who already are irritated or irritable and have low cognitive capabilities or are paralyzed would lovingly or willingly wear that device on their head and sit there so that you can get readings? It looks more like a diagnostic tool than a day-to-day utilitarian tool to me. So I'm a little confused how that is going to be feasible. Who
Yes,
takes charge of that? So you're also including into the ecology. You're also including a caregiver who constantly needs to monitor this device or manage this device on the patient's body.
No, sir. So actually, when we're talking about people with paralytical attacks who are bedridden, it's not. If we the first point that you talked about, maybe getting irritable for them, it is a challenge that we need to address here. But also when we look at the effects that it poses, and when a person if they start feeling that they have to be dependent on their loved ones for the simplest of their tasks, it also imposes some mental stress, etc. When a person is bedridden, there are cases when they can speak and talk normally, or maybe they can experience normal things, but then the dependence that is being posed on them is a fact of concern, and it retards their mental health also. And the second point that you talked about, that a caretaker always needs to be there to address the readings of the device, that's not exactly the case. The whole idea of the project is to make the person independent from their caretakers. So the application that we are providing with it, the data from the sensor is being collected in the application, and whenever the concentration levels, suppose if I am using the headset and if I'm concentrating on light bulb, when the device is being given to the person, it's already been customized according to them or configured according to them, like you said, certain things. So if I am concentrating on the word light bulb, the bulb in my room would automatically turn on and would eliminate the need of another person or a caretaker in the scene. That is what exactly the solution is.
Okay, go back to two more slides. Go back to the slides. Look at this many mental retardation, mental illness, multiple disabilities.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is a whole lot of people you are looking at as a market. Do you think people who are mentally retarded or who have mental illness can actually use this device without another caregiver's intervention? Or will a mentally retarded person really sit down and say, okay, I want to switch off my light? I mean, your market differentiation or your market segmentation seem to be all over the place.
Okay, sir.
Again, yeah. See,
One
you
more
have to
thing.
understand, if you're selling the same product to everyone in this market, I don't think it's a very feasible, it won't gain any traction because you are including everyone into the market. You need to narrow down and rebrand your product in terms of its utility in a very more narrow terms. At least that's what I feel. Please let others also comment on it.
So can I answer your question?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, so we also talked about playing mind control games and keeping a track of how the therapy is going on. Anyone with neurological disorders or mental retardedness goes to therapy and they make them do certain tasks, etc., to help them, rejuvenate and connect with people. So here, when I'm talking about mind control games, it is helping them to concentrate on stuff. Like if I need to play a simple game of maybe ball or any game with right left orders, if I'm making them play it with the sensor on by concentrating on stuff, we can gradually see how the therapy is going. If their attention levels are improving, if their the wanderness state of mind is improving, or it is degrading, and we can monitor all that stuff, which is not possible without any intervention like this. If initially the person is not you know capable of wearing the device the whole time, but then at the time of therapy or at intervals it can be used, so that we can treat them better and inflict a sense of independence in them.
Okay, so team, I think in your presentation there is a disconnect between the problem and the solution. See, you're trying to measure the mental health of a person who is already old or they are not in a good condition. And, as the age increases, I have seen that people are going away from the technology. They do not want to use anything. They just want someone to talk to them and express themselves. If you have seen some startups like Goodfellow, which is by Shantanu Naidu, it is companionship for the senior citizen. It is doing great. I mean, they are not connecting these elderly people with the technology, but with the people. And this kind of solution they need right now. If you go and ask them what they need, then you'll get probably the solution or to your problem, because switching off the light, switching on, it is just a sensor thing right now. If you just move your hand, your light is switch on. You have remote control lights, you have mobile control lights and fans. These are not the problems. So first try to focus on your problem. What is your problem? And then look for the research that is done to solve that problem, and then try to come up with a solution. I think there is a disconnect between problem and solution itself.
Yeah, a very strong disconnect. Yeah, because look at your market segmentation. Mental retardation is a very specific problem. Mental retardation means very, very less mental ability to make decisions, do basic things. Those people cannot wear something and say, okay, this, that, and all. Either make it a diagnostic tool or make it a therapy tool, but not something you're going to wear 24 hours a day and then make decisions and control things. It looks a little all over the place.
Just a personal experience. My nanny used to deny to wear a diaper also.
Yeah.
Forget about this devices. She used to say, no, I don't want to touch that thing. This kind of reactions you will get from them. So there is a disconnect. Just work on it.
Ma'am, I'll just like to pose a point for all the things that you have said. As I initially told, there are two aspects of the solution that we are proposing. The second aspect is more of diagnostic and the medical terms. The first is home control. As you said, there are solutions available, like you can use remote control.
Anushka, yeah, we are actually running out of time, okay?
That's the last point. One more line. I
Yeah, okay, just go on quickly.
Yeah. So, if a person, like I have my grandmother has gone through a paralytical attack, so they cannot move. She was not able to use her phone. She was not able to switch on the light bulbs or matlab, toggle with the switches, etc. If someone has a paralytical attack, then unable to move even a muscle, and also the speeds get hampered because half of your face is paralyzed, so they cannot even use Google Assistant or stuff like that. It was a huge problem because every time they need a person to talk to them, or when you need your acquaintances or your family members for each and every smallest of tasks, they also get tired of stuff. So earlier, like she's in Mossy, and she used to say ki, earlier we used to go and sit and talk to her, but now we are also that much tired, and she is also exhausted that she has to rely on them, and she's disrupting their lives also. She's under that mental trauma, they not get the time to interact. And
Understood your problem, Anushka. First, try to decide on your audience, a target market, and then try to come up with a solution. Okay. Thank
sure,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, team, and thank you, panel. Now we'll go on with our next teams, Ponderers, headed by Gautam Thukral.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just I'm sharing my screen. So basically, we are Team Ponderers and myself, Gautam. So basically, we are working for the ideology where there's a gap in education sector for the person with hearing disabilities. We are trying to fill that gap of communication between person with hearing disabilities and other students. So basically, our project involves providing a solution to this problem by creating a device which would convert the sign language and gestures into everybody's everyday speaking language, so that it is easy for people to communicate with people with hearing impairment. So the basic description of a solution includes a degree 360-degree camera with a projector. And the main idea behind this device is to make the class more inclusive by allowing children with hearing disability to communicate freely in the class without feeling like an outcast. So the basic implementation approach we use, like we have a camera which will take all the images of the sign languages that a person, the child with the hearing disability try to communicate. And after reading all the sign gestures, it will interpret the message, and the message will be conveyed to the teacher and the other students in the class. So basically, the communication between the person with hearing disabilities and the other students in the class, it will be easy. So and we also use voice assistant, so that will help all other students to get to know about what the message is conveyed from that specific person. And coming to the feasibility, it is economically feasible. We can implement it in majorly every private school and most of the government schools having facilities of projectors and all. So it is economically feasible and operationally feasible. And when it comes to technical support, AI has now advanced to a great extent. So we have many models that we can train for the sign language image recognitions and all. So it is technically feasible also. We can say users. So we can have a great impact from this solution. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Have you ever, this is Dr. Ratan here. Have you ever thought about what are the restrictions that this technology will place on the communicator? Are cameras really able to capture the movement? Should the person be very stable and have to gesture at a certain angle and at a certain height with his hand movements in order to be captured and translated. Have you thought how the real people socially behave in a environment so that?
Yes.
Have you
Yes,
done?
actually, yeah, actually, I have implemented this AI model. Just a second, I am sharing it. So is it visible?
Yes.
So basically, the camera will take these type of images of sign language, then it will be converted to the text.
Yeah, so there you see that person has to use all those signs in a particular social space, or not social space, a space. And what about a 5-year-old kid? Will they be able to communicate to the teacher like that?
Yeah, so
You're going to
I
tell
will
a
give a
4-year-old kid
basic
stand at a
example of.
30-degree angle, raise your hand here, only then we can understand you.
No, sir, it's not that like that. We take an example of the cameras at traffic lights. They take the snaps of helmets and all of moving by motorcycles at a great speed and all. So that will not be an issue, I think.
Okay, I won't argue on that. I don't know much about the camera capabilities. I'm just trying to understand if it improves, imposes a priori behavioral framework and actual physical behavior. You have to do it in a certain space, in a certain way, at a certain speed. Only then it will be effectively read. It does not seem to align very well with natural human kinematic behavior, if that's a good way to use the word.
Yes, basically implementation at that level will give the better results, I think. But according to theories, I guess there will not be any major issues.
Any real-time testing you have done of this solution proposed?
Yes, so this model, I have tested this model, but not in not on that big scale like school and anything like that.
Thank you, team. Now we will move on with our next team, Team Unfold, headed by Dheeraj Parak. Dheeraj, are you there? Please present your screen.
Sir, can you just make Aman Singhal as a co-host?
Yeah, sure. You may start now.
Hi guys, this is Aman. I'm from the team Unfold. Let me start by presenting my screen. Okay. So the name of our project is the Parkinson's Band. So the problem actually revolves around a disease called the Parkinson's disease. Now, Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease. In that, what happens is the myelin sheath on your neuron, it actually degenerates over time. But what actually does is it would make you lose control over your motor movements, like your hands. It will also lead to your memory losses, and it will also often lead to some other disabilities in the body, like you will lose control on your facial muscles, and your basic functionalities of your nervous system will also go down. Now, the major problem in Parkinson's disease is that over the ages, the symptoms actually increase. But the major symptoms which we wanted to focus upon was essential tremor, because that is something which we have observed in the patients we have talked to, is which they are a very hard time dealing with. Because what happens is, if you have essential tremor, what happens is, let's say as a normal person, I'm able to hold this pen. But for a person suffering from Parkinson's disease, this is going to be the action which they will be experiencing. So what it actually means for them is that they will have inability in eating, they will have inability in writing, they can't even hold a glass of water, or basically every day-to-day activity which involves your motor controls actually becomes very difficult for them. And every single year, 60,000 Americans are diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And this is the data just out of America. What we have personally observed is that in India, there are many doctors who doesn't even know how to diagnose Parkinson's disease versus some other neurological disorder. So I'm expecting the number to be almost equivalent or even maybe huge in terms of India. Now, what was our solution to this? So majorly we realized that what happens is there is a control system between your brain and your hand, which actually goes into your erroneous state. So what happens is that because that control system is into an error state, your tremors occur. So what if we find out a way in order to confuse the brain into thinking that it is that device or that other thing which is vibrating, whereas you get some control back of your hand. So we came up with a band. It has about 6 haptic drivers or vibration motors. So what it does is it can be operated wire or wirelessly based upon whatever electronics you put in. And it will be going to be worn on a patient's hand, something like this. I hope you guys are able to see my video camera as well. Yeah. So something like this, it will be worn onto the patient's hand. And what it actually does is once the patient wears this band, the cord will actually vibrate those motors in a very different kind of a pattern. Now, as I was observing in the earlier presentations, not same solution fits all. In the similar manner, maybe the vibration pattern for you is different and for someone else it might be different. So what we did, we actually do a very comprehensive test for the person suffering from Parkinson's disease. We make them draw a spiral and a circle in order to observe that in which areas the vibration or the oscillations are coming. On the left side, you can see the images that on the left hand side, you can see the jagged waves and all of that is coming. But after the patient has wear the band, on the right side, you can see that the vibration has dampened down and the shape of spiral has also changed. So it actually works in 2 ways. Because of this different vibration patterns which are being injected non-invisibly into the hand and the muscles, it actually has a effect that the person's muscles get relaxed and the person is able to write for a longer time. It also helps to break that erroneous pattern between your brain and your hand, and it also helps to reduce that amplitude of the oscillation, hence giving you some control of the hand back. Now, as compared to some other solutions in the market, so the best solution for this particular problem or essential tremors is you go for a deep brain surgery. But deep brain surgeries are very, very expensive. And the feasibility and accessibility is also low because you need a very highly reputed doctor in order to perform something like that. Now, there are 2 such products which are available in the American market. Nothing exists for this problem in the Indian market. First is Tremolo. The price is high. It's not that much feasible, and the availability of that product even in America is also quite less. The same goes for Kala Trio. It is a cheaper variant of something like Tremolo, but again it suffers from the similar problems of feasibility and accessibility. But in case of our band, the production cost of this entire product will come down to 1,500 rupees. It is very easy to wear. You can wear it like a watch. And because we are making it in India, everyone probably in India who is suffering from such disease can actually try it for themselves and then see maybe if it works for them or not. So that's all about the idea. I would also like to show you some clips which we have tested on the patients personally. So this is the live demo which we shot with one of the patients suffering from Parkinson's disease. So this is the test which we perform, which we tell them to draw on a piece of paper after and before wearing the band with different vibrational patterns. And we actually do a comprehensive study, and then we understand how the patient is responding to different patterns. That's all from my side.
Okay, nice presentation, Aman. Just the video that you showed, the previous one was with the band and the next one was with, or both were with the bands?
Let me actually find it out, ma'am, because in the video it's really
blur. I know, that is why I asked. So I think yes, this is with the band.
This one is with the band. This one is with the band.
Okay.
So this test was basically in order to understand whether they are able to write in a restricted space or not. We create a box. We tell them to write it in an open area, and then we make them write in a constructed box.
So what was your user strength? How many users you have tested with?
So I have, so I got a permission to record video footages from about 4 patients, but we have done this test on about 8 patients so far, under the guidance of a doctor, of course.
Oh, okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
Do you understand that this product has to go through extensive medical tests and it cannot be sold
Definitely.
as an assistive device?
I do understand that, sir. So the plan was that until unless we are able to, at least achieve a success rate of 50%, we won't be moving ahead with the medical tests, because we also understood that these medical tests also incur a huge cost. So
50% for a medical cost is very low, man. You have to at least get 94, 95, 90.
So
50, no one is going to fund you. 50 is half, 50% failure. From a market,
I totally get
50
that,
is
sir.
50% failure. Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying 50% is that by so far on the patients which we have tried, the success ratio was only 30 to 40%, because this is just the first POC. In the later on versions, what we want to do is we want to implement some machine learning models. We want to learn the pattern of oscillations of that person, and then we want the device to tune automatically according to that. So 50% is my next milestone before we actually say that, okay, so we have built a product and this is something which a user can wear. It is a short-term goal. The long-term goal is definitely to achieve a higher number. But when it comes to a non-invasive device, it becomes really hard, because you have to do everything externally. You can't inject anything, or we also thought of going with something known as TENS, transcutaneous electromechanical stimulation. So that is something which can directly control the muscles. But then because it becomes in the category of invasive product, that again totally differentiates my product from what category I'm trying to target.
Great, Aman. This is actually very focused problem. You're going in the right direction. But before you come up with a solution, I would suggest go with a lot of user study and lot of iterations of your product.
Right.
And as sir rightly pointed out, go with the medical team, because this is like if you don't have proper permissions, don't go ahead, because you're dealing with the muscles directly.
I understand that now. In fact,
and it is also elderly population. There's a lot of caveats.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because it's any product that addresses a narrowly tailored problem with a narrowly tailored solution works better than trying to solve the entire universe of related problems.
Exactly.
Yeah, just an general idea I've noticed. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Aman, just one suggestion. Neha, may I?
Please. Yeah, go ahead.
So you may also look at the final size of the product, like whether it will be a discomfort to wear, or at least as a visible wearing on the hand, or whether it will be comfortable to the person.
Yeah, so that is the idea, because in elderly, just like I think Ratan sir was mentioning that, with and also Neha ma'am, that elderly people, they resist all sorts of textile gadgets with around them. But something which I observed, that most elderly people, at least the places where I've been, they can at least wear some watches, some old school analog watches. So our end idea is to keep it as simple as and as small as a smartwatch. So that it is very easy for them to wear.
Will be very careful. Who? Normal. You're talking about Parkinson people whose hands frequently shiver. So they may not be the same as, say, your grandpa or my grandpa who still wears a watch.
Right.
Right.
So don't assume that just because your grandpa wears a watch, a Parkinson's person of the same age would have the same attitude. Because Parkinson's actually is very, very, you know what it is.
Yeah, so
don't make those assumptions. These small assumptions are actually disastrous if you convert it into a product.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did have a personal experience with the exact same thing Ratan sir is mentioning. So we actually took a design prototype to them, which was exactly like a smartwatch. But the problem is the latching mechanism of the current watches and the materials which they use. If you are continuously shaking, it actually becomes something like an obstruction. They just want to throw it away. So you have to build it in such a manner that it's rather than something like a watch, it is simply like a piece of foam or something which is there but doesn't even feel that it's there.
Can it be converted into a necklace?
Necklace is supposed to be worn in the neck, right?
Yeah.
So
that's why I asked you. I don't know the disease etiology, no? So
not exactly, sir, because we are targeting essential tremors. So the nerves which we are targeting are in your hands. So the entire idea of the project was to give control of the hands back to the users.
I understand.
So that at least
Maybe
they can
maybe
sign
shoulder,
documents.
maybe shoulder where you take your vaccination, that area.
But so in that, the problem was that you don't have that kind of nerve group. So all the three nerves which I'm talking about, they actually run from.
Yeah. I don't know the medical feasibility of which area, but I was just wondering if if people get very irritated or wearing something in the hand and discrete place. Yeah, you never. Okay.
So the deep brain surgery, actually, I'm talking about the device actually is, from the wires in your head actually goes to your device in a shoulder. So
Yes.
there is the place where they actually inject those wires and then they control those nerves.
I understand. Yeah, the nerve roots are somewhere in the hand. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So the study that you have done for all this designing and all, just one suggestion to everyone: just don't go directly for the machine learning because it is in trained and will deliver the solution. No, this is not for you, Aman. This is for everyone. Always think what is the problem, what are the existing solution, and if you need some intervention from the machine, then go for machine learning. But after machine learning also, you will have to tune the solution as per the requirement. Okay, so use it wisely. Yeah, thank you, Aman.
Thanks, Aman. Now we will go on with our next team, Team String Drive Wheelchair, headed by Shesh Rajesh.
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
Sir, can you please unmute Mahmood? He's muted. Hello?
Yeah, it's done.
Hello. Hello, good evening. I'm Mahmood, and our idea is a string drive wheelchair, and we are a team of 4 members. So our problem statement is, in our campus, we have seen within our own eyes a disabled person he can operate his hand, so he uses a hand pedal wheelchair. But you can see he's training, and after some time he doesn't even pedal. He moves the wheels with his own hands itself. So from this we concluded, and we also had a conversation with him, and he also agreed that a better motion is a lever-based motion. And through various research papers, we have come to conclude that the existing wheel ring wheelchairs causes a lot of musculoskeletal problems on long usage. And also hand pedal wheelchairs require a lot more effort than a lever-based wheelchair. So we've decided to make a lever-based wheelchair, and we'll replace the existing chain transmission with a string drive transmission, so that we'll be utilizing the mechanical advantage of levers. So the methodology that we are following is, we went through many research papers, and then we calculated and we validated and justified that our model requires lesser effort. And then we did a CAD model, and then we procured certain components to test the working of the mechanism. And then further, we'll be simulating the finalized assembly and then fabricating and incorporating it into a wheelchair. Yeah. So in the left, you can see the conventional chain, belt, and shaft drive. And in the right side is the proposed string drive. This string drive is currently a model that's existing in a bicycle. But what we'll be doing is, we'll be replacing the pulley there, and we'll be attaching the string directly onto the lever itself, so that there will be any mechanical losses. The difference between the conventional hand pedal wheelchair and our string-based wheelchair is that our wheelchair has a smaller radius of turn, so that it can be easily maneuvered, and obviously it has lesser mechanical parts, so it will be low in weight. And then the maintenance can be very easy. Just the string is the only part that needs to be replaced. That also has a very long lifespan, and it's also comparatively cheaper due to lesser number of parts. Yeah. The key difference is between the string drive, existing string chair, and our own string proposed method is that in the existing one, the levers are independently actuated, so that if you had to move in a straight path, you have to move in the same direction. But in ours, we'll be using a bevel gear system between the levers, so that one motion of the lever, the other one reciprocates back. So you'll be having a stable movement, and the slots in the lever, in that the pivot points can be moved up and down, so that when the torque and RPM can complement each other and with the constant power. And we also have a narrower area of action, so that ergonomically it will be more comfortable than the existing one. And in the existing one, it has a differential steering. When you're turning suddenly towards left, the wheelchair might toe off, it might fall down. But in ours, we'll be using an anti-Ackermann system that's similar to the ones used in car steering, so it'll be more stable. Next slide.
Okay.
And this is the further results and discussion will be said by Sesha Rajesh.
Yeah. Let's see about the research and discussions we already done. So we did some calculation for the designing of wheelchair. So first we did a force calculations, whether how much force required to move a wheelchair. So for this we took a boundary condition of 5 degrees slope. So we are not considering the flat surface. So for hand wheelchair, the force required to move a wheelchair is 108 Newton, which is almost 11 kg. For pedal wheelchair, it is 50 kg for 5 degree slope. So for our string drive wheelchair, it requires 122 Newton, which is 12 kg Newton. As you see, the force required for the hand wheelchair and our wheelchair is almost equal. But according to the various research papers we have studied, the people who are operating in a normal hand wheelchair may experience some musculoskeletal disorders. So in our wheelchair, we have designed according to the more ergonomic way, which is discussed further slide. Yeah. This is a rule analysis, which is rapid upper limb analysis done by a software Kataya version 5. So in this analysis, this analysis explains how much comfortability the man can experience. So for pedal wheelchair, first of all, there will be some scale starting from 1 to 10. So the most comfortable position is ranging from 1 to 3. So our string wheelchair will give a value of 3. For pedal wheelchair, it's 4, which is almost greater value. So yeah, this is the CAD model of our wheelchair. So as Mahmood said, the two levers are coupled through a bevel gear. So if one lever is pushed, the another lever is if one lever is forward, the other lever is go backward. So yeah, if one lever is pushed, the string will tighten and it will, which is coiled in a hub, will rotate the wheel. So this is a main key mechanism which is used in the wheelchair. So as a slot, I hope you may see the slot, which is actuated by a linear actuator to vary the torque. So the main key difference is, as Mahmood said, which is bevel gear, which is not present in a normal existing string wheelchair. So next we freewheel mechanism, which is used in a hub, which arrests a single rotation, so that we can achieve the movement in one direction proper manner. So this is the CAD model after incorporating the mechanism into the wheelchair. So I would like to conclude that we propose a wheelchair which will provide more maneuverability, less effect, and ergonomically more comfort than existing wheelchair. Hope in the market, lots of electronic and normal hand wheelchair are available, but hope our wheelchair will become affordable by all the people. Thank you.
Apart from affordability, what is so unique about your wheelchair? Because if I'm using a wheelchair, I would love to have a motorized wheelchair. So your wheelchair expects some kind of physical ability on behalf of the user. So your market segmentation is very small, narrow, right?
So in India, if you see, most of the people who are using wheelchair are not people who can afford a motorized wheelchair. There are very lot of rural peoples who cannot even afford a wheelchair, right? So if we could make it possible for them to afford it and also in a more effective way, so that they if when you're like a physically challenged person, you definitely cannot have that much strength to keep operating a wheelchair. You might even lose hope and stuff. So when it's more comfortable for you, and it gives a boost, a moral boost for you, so that you can try out new technologies and stuff.
So this is mostly for paraplegics.
Yeah, though who can operate their hands but not their feet.
Yeah, para means 4. So
yeah.
Okay.
I think your user group for the user study was very less. In the presentation, you mentioned that you talked to one person about the liver thing. I think you should increase your user group for the user study to understand the problem. Also, the state of the art is, I don't think so. It is very good, because only wheelchair-based solutions are not feasible everywhere. If you see, there are crutches also, which are very nice nowadays. I have been with the team from IIT itself, Fleximotive. They have developed crutches, and which are very widely accepted by the people, because those were affordable, that were very easy to use. So I think you should increase your state of the art, not restraining to the wheelchair only, because wheelchair solutions, I know that there is one more solution from IIT Madras team, Sujata ma'am's team. You can have a look at that solution also.
In the user aspect point of view, in person we actually contracted one, but based on we actually had a list of 10 research papers based on labor-based wheelchairs. And then
Exactly.
That's when we decided on it. And us not having
physical presence only, I'm saying, just don't
yeah.
One. We have contacted thousands of users before coming up to this.
Okay.
So don't come up based on one user's.
And in the point of state of the art thing, our main first point is our main competitor is the hand pedal wheelchair, and we're not focusing on other regions. And also we wanted this to be a purely mechanical project, not
Got your point.
Okay.
But still, yeah.
Also look at different weights of people, energy requirements, and those kind of things. Also the finer aspects of the ergonomics,
Yeah, we actually included the weight of the people in our calculations. This is just
test it with these kind of people.
Okay, I get it.
Get a lot of data. That's actually, as ma'am was saying, get a lot of data with different permutations and combinations of variables, so that you can actually understand your market better. A simplistic view of market is never a good idea, especially when it's a very specialized device.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, guys, and panel.
Thank you, everyone.
Now we'll go on with the next team, Pluffy called Tuffy, headed by Harsh Ramawat.
Is my screen visible? Can
yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we are team Pluffy called Tuffy from Bangalore. So here Pluffy is a toy phone for kids who face early childhood onset fluency disorder, which is commonly known as stammering. We are providing this particular solution and design product in open category. We are a team of 3 people, one from Masters of Design who has a background in BTech, one from Interaction Design, and another one from Interaction Design B-Design. The process mainly that we followed is design thinking, where we formulated a problem statement, we did stakeholder mapping, we did a lot of brainstorming, which was structured in a way of how and why laddering, and like that we did a lot of things which actually led us to the final prototype, as you will see in our presentation. So here, the problem statement is in the structure of a stakeholder faces what exact cause leads to what exact effect. Kids in their early childhood faces stammering. in speech due to anxiety and fear of speaking in front of a person in authority, leading to not being fluent in their speech, social stigma, and hindrance in cognitive development. Here, our primary stakeholder is the children who are facing these stammering issues and their siblings and their parents. The target audience would be a age group from 6 to 9. We are majorly targeting the urban India, and the market size is 40 crore plus. Here, the main cause is the anxiety and the fear of talking in front of a person in authority. That can be their parents or their teachers. The effect is basically not having a cognitive development overall, not being fluent in the speech, and also the social stigma that comes with it. So here you can see the stakeholder mapping. So as you can see, there will be distributors, retailers, wholesalers, and technology companies, which can be our secondary stakeholders, and there is our tertiary stakeholders, which can be the manufacturing companies, and medical professionals also comes under our secondary stakeholders. We did an extensive brainstorming session of how and why laddering, where how leads us to the solution and why leads us to the final problem, which is the root problem. So it is not visible here, but I'll read it for you. The people who are talking to kid who stammer are impatient is the root problem that we got from this brain mapping. And here on the how part, we can provide them with a toy that can be good listener to the kids and reply back occasionally by not being judgmental or biased. And the solution just above that one will be by captivating the senses of the kid with the help of a moving and a lighting up toy that is intuitive yet fascinating. So we did a survey. The count of the survey was 133 and it's still increasing. We mainly asked the simple questions just as to know who the people are actually that are giving our surveys. We asked their profession, their age, their gender, and then some of the questions were not required. That's why the responses are 40. So for this particular question, as you can see, can you recall that at what age you experienced stammering? So this particular question is targeted to the people if we actually end up reaching to some of the persons that are there, which we eventually did. As you can see, so many people have answered. Then there are certain things that I would like to draw your attention to, like this particular question that we asked in our survey. 113 people responded to this. In which of the following ways you feel that you can help a child who is stammering? So a good amount of people, 89 out of this, have said the right answer, which is being patient and listen. But if you add up this 22 people and 33 people who have answered completing their sentences and making them repeat after you, is actually not a great process that we have learned from our secondary study, and later on you will see in our primary research also. So in primary, basically we went ahead and talked to some of the parents that are there because I had some personal experiences. So this particular child, his family used to stay on rent in our house. That child used to face stammering issues. I noticed that, and he used to talk perfectly with his sister, but in school he used to perform not that great, and in the house also he used to stammer a lot. I noticed that and I started talking to him regularly, being patient and not completing his sentences. I noticed that he used to stammer in front of me, but later on he became really comfortable just in a week. So that shows us a practical example of that these kind of things can work. Just providing them an environment will be really helpful. Not going further into all other interviews that we have taken from the parents of these kids and 2 of the doctors that are there, I'll take you to our interview insights. The 3 main points in our interview insights that we found are that mostly only nervousness causes this stammering issues. Just accepting it and working on it instead of making it a big deal will be a great thing for the families and for any educational institution in which these kids are enrolled. And making parents aware that it is not a medical condition or a disease will be a great thing. So we did a lot of user persona for the particular child that is there, so as in to know their motivations, frustrations, aspirations, what technology that they have access to. We did the same for their siblings, for their younger sibling, and for mothers, for their elder sibling, and then as on to make a system or an interface that will be our end product. We did a system persona of that product also, that how will it be emotional, will it be receptive to the emotions of the kid that he is talking to, that particular piece of device. So the main demands and wishes are here that a good listener is a great demand, a calm and a relaxed speaker. Some of the primary wishes were a friend to talk with, less visual feedback and expression of a person. So a few of the pain points that we got from our interviews and requirement lists were: people don't talk in calm and relaxed manner. There is communication gap between the speaker, the kid, and the listener, and there is less sharing of thoughts due to
Guys, be a little quick.
Okay, so I'll take you. So the main pain point was this insecurity and the. So I'll take you to our wireframe. This particular wireframe is for an app that will be used by the parents, and they can check the regular progress of the kid, and they can turn on and turn off this device whenever they want. They can schedule some of the calls or speech recognizing things that they want to give to the child. There will be a profile. So this is the final prototype of the app, how it looks. This is some of the ideation of the Pluffy toy phone, which will be with the kids, which has a speaker, there is a proximity sensor, there is a screen, and a kid can really hang it in their neck. So for the bill of materials and technology involved, there are sensors, actuators, there can be a lot of miscellaneous costs that we assume can be there. And we went on in the market and searched for all the products that are there. So some of the main products that were there are like this kind of cactus toy, which is dancing and singing. But we again found that the limitation in some of the products which are, see, one of these breathwork toys are there. So it has no direct proven scientific relation with breathwork. It has scientific proven relationship with anxiety, and this sort of devices which are analyzing and are not that emotional or intuitive for a small kid to use. We did an extensive competitive benchmarking as in to understand all these products. We went on and did an extensive business model canvas so as in to know all our key activities, our value proposition, our revenue streams, cost effectiveness, our customer segmentation, and all the channels from which we can reach to the end consumer. This is our final prototype of the Pluffy toy phone, which will talk to the kid from the voice, which is Tuffy. Thank you. If you have any comments, suggestions, we are open to hear.
Okay, I understood your market study, your user study, everything. I understood the problem, but I'm not very clear with the solution. What are you giving with that toy?
Yes, so this particular toy has little emoticons and animations. So as you have seen, kids sometimes just take the phone and they keep on their ear, and even if some person is not there on the other side, they will talk to that. And this is providing them an environment where they feel safe, and the person in authority is not there. And they get full freedom of talking it, and they feel like as if this particular toy is their friend. And then due to constant talking, they eventually overcome their stammering issues.
I have one simple observation. Children are they have very short attention span. So unless they are actively engaged with the toy, with an elder's intervention, like as if it's kind of an intervention, they will not keep on playing with the toy to a point where the therapeutic effects of using that can be transferred to the child. So always remember what is your age group. See, you can tell a 6-year-old to use that as a way of overcoming a disability because she's aware, he or she is aware of their disability. But if you're looking at a very young child, your assumption that they'll pick it up and play with it enough to overcome stammering seems to be a very fancy assumption. I don't know if that is a feasible idea.
Yes, it's a great question. So as we mentioned that our age group is from 6 years, so it's for a kid, like a small one, it's early childhood onset fluency disorder. So it's really early in the age. We are not giving it to like a kid who is very like in 7th or 8th standard, maybe they are still in like the early ages. And also to answer another question of yours, that there are intuitive screens of these emoticons which will constantly keep the kid engaging, and there will be LED lights, as you can see in our bill of materials, and other actuators are involved. There are sounds, there is mic that is taking their sound inside, and in the app we are actually providing an option where parents can put their own recordings, and kids can later on listen to those questions or maybe stories when their parents are not around, because in urban India mostly parents are working, and then there is a lot of things that they need to handle with the issues that kid is facing.
Harsh, I'll give you a gap between your problem and a solution. You're
Yes.
trying to give a solution where parents do not want screen time for their kid. They want
Yes.
their kids to be away from the digital devices, whereas you're giving a solution in the digital format. First thing.
Yes.
Second thing, you're giving a solution where a kid will talk. There will be some results, but we will
Yes.
have to measure those results. And there is
Yes.
no any parameter to measure those results, right?
To answer your question,
Parameters will be again should be evaluated by the parents. Unless
Yes.
the parent intervene and they understand the progress of their child, they will not be able to accept the solution.
yes. So to answer your first question, this device is not really a totally digital device. It's just like a piece of those telephones that you play with and you get it into flea market. The OLED screen which is there, that is also like a really cheap version of the OLED screen. These are high fidelity renders. That's why it looks like that it's a full-fledged mobile phone, but it is really not that. Like if we have given that kind of perception. And secondly, what was your other question? Can you like repeat, please?
How you will make their progress?
So there is a input. So when they will talk and keep talking, we can have a lot of algorithms and so many things involved that can actually sense that, okay, there is a gap between these two. We can use text to speech. There is open source text to speech from Google that is available. So if there are gap between two words and the words are broken, then it can literally realize that, okay, this particular sentence is not complete, and eventually in a week or maybe in a month, because of this particular story or this particular emotional thing, or maybe because of this particular voice, they are actually replying in a good fluent format. So those kind of things will be triggered more, and in the app we will provide parents with a lot of questions and engaging stories in which the kid will actually feel comfortable in answering those things.
You know, parent will have to record everything, evaluate everything based on the app.
Yeah.
Probably using an app, it's better to interact directly with the child.
Yes, so directly interaction,
always a
because they are
benefit.
at their office and they are not available for the child all the day. That's why we are going forward with this.
To add to what Ms. Neha is saying.
Yes, yes.
Have you actually observed the attention span of a 6-year-old? Second,
yes,
assuming that those children will put all the success of this product is hinged on this assumption that the child will spend X amount of time with this device without getting distracted to be able to benefit from it, without the parents being around, assuming that working parents don't have time to do therapy with their children, therefore we need this device.
So for
It's on
this,
a very shaky ground, buddy.
yeah. So we did a lot of secondary research in which we studied the attention span of kids in India. Like there was a lot of people that were
Don't do
interviewed
secondary
in that
research
particular.
about children's attention from papers. You should do it yourself with this device.
Yeah, so once we develop this, we can go into the market and do a extensive usability testing for this particular device. Like as we were told to give a idea, we are pitching like a idea that is there, and we can think about the feasibility a lot. Like we'll take all your inputs. It's a really nice thing that you have told me we should do like this.
Also, one more input, Harsh. The product will be very robust. The toy that you are going to give, because these kids have a habit of throwing everything here and there.
Great.
You are saying that it is a very cheap product, and if they throw anywhere or in a water, the product is gone.
Right.
So you have to work with a lot of things. So
Yes.
coming up with a prototype give your solutions, lot of iteration at your end.
Right, right.
Yeah. Also, I know this sounds crazy, but play
Yes.
with a 6-year-old for a week.
Okay. Yes,
Play
yes.
with them. Then you'll start
Right.
noticing their attention span is very, very less.
Yes.
And they get enamored and engrossed with the strangest things, but not your device.
Yes, right. No.
Hinging the success of this device on this assumption that the children will engage with your toy extensively for an extended period of time is on a very shaky ground.
So we are not telling them to do it like for a really longer time. It is like a few minutes at different intervals in the time of the day, and it is like a long process. We are not going like that. We can give you some hard and fast solution.
But understand this, whenever being a mother, I can tell you, I have to sit with my kid for each and everything.
Right.
Each and everything, studies, playing, anything. So
Yes.
it's not feasible to do anything without intervention of a parent.
Yeah, 6-year-old is a different ball game, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have
spend some time with them
cases.
without your device. Just spend some time, like how Neha is spending time with a child.
Right.
He probably knows a child's behavior more intimately than any of us.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
We will take forward all of these inputs
Yes.
that we have given about the robustness, about playing with a kid, observing their attention span. Thank you so much, like for all the valuable inputs.
Thank you, team.
Thank you, Harsh and team. Yeah, so now we have arrived, we have gone through all the teams. Now Saurabh will give a little talk.
So thank you, everyone. I would like to again express my gratitude to all the panels and jury members and all the participants for giving your valuable time, spending your knowledge while discovering the issues for disability. And we are really delighted to see all the progress that you made in this short time and came with really brilliant ideas. Ideas not related to just one or two kind of disabilities, but a wide range of issues that come and that occur with variety of people in their day-to-day life. We really appreciate all these efforts that you guys put together and came up with some of you prepare a proper design and the implementation part, market studies. All these things matter a lot. We really thank you for that, for all the effort that you put. Now, like we are reaching towards the end of the program, although we wanted to release the prizes today itself, but since we are in a short of time and we also have to have a discussion, so we'll be getting back to you with all the list of the winners, and a huge congratulations to them, though it's not revealed now, but it will be revealed very soon. So because we don't want to have any sort of ambiguities, so at the end, the ideas which were really which were like good in terms of novelty and good at feasibility and which had a larger impact, they will definitely go to the top. And we hope that in the coming time also we'll be able to host more such event. But remember one thing, the International Day of Disability that we are celebrating today, we are coming up with a lot of ideas, but it will not go ahead if we don't take these ideas forward and make it into an implemented product. So whatever ideas you came with, don't just leave it and don't think it as a just ideathon or just pitching it as a final thing. Take it ahead. Whatever efforts you put, you also have to be passionate about it. Take it forward and make it a usable product by all your targeted users. Whatever comments and feedbacks have been given to you, take them as an input, improve on it, and go further with your work. We really want more such initiatives being taken towards the country in order to make the entire world and our country inclusive and equitable for everyone. And that is the agenda of like United Nations, to achieve that level where no one is left behind. So we again thank you all. Thank you. Thanks to all the supporting team, participants, jury members, and panelists for your valuable inputs, your time, and also the insights that you put about your understanding about disability and the related areas. So with that, I would like to thank, and we conclude with this program. But
Soro, I would like to add one thing before the participants leave.
Sure, sir.
So definitely the relevance of the program and the ideas we have seen. And just as you were mentioning, to take them forward as incubation center at IIIT IC, we would be happy to have those ideas, and so that they can take a physical shape and they can be taken forward for end users. So as incubation center, we would be help them to discuss them what can be the next stage for their pre-incubation or the incubation.
So that is a really value-added points for all the participants who have been really who have been already doing a lot of work in their area. So it is an opportunity for you guys to get the incubation support from Incubation and Innovation Center of IIIT Delhi. Get back to us, frame your ideas, make it the way it looks practical, and definitely you'll be getting all the support through our college and through the incubation cell.
Yeah, so just to add what Kulbir was mentioning. So I was about to say that only, that you can also join us in taking your idea forward. And we have I have already shared the email ID as well on chat, so you can reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help you take this idea forward. So don't just stop here only, as Saurabh mentioned. As you have taken the first step, definitely you should look forward going ahead as well. So all the best to everyone. Thank you.